There are times in your life that you may be faced with tough decisions. This is not one of them. It's that time, just in time for a fresh batch of cookies out of the oven. Lace up your trousers and get ready for some jokes. From Los Angeles, California, it's the Brian Crow Show. Bow, bitches.
Well, hey, how you guys all doing out there? Cool, glad to hear it. So let me ask you a question. What does it take to be funny? What does it take to get up on a stage and stand up in front of a room of probable strangers and make them laugh? Touch their funny bone and pull something out of them that is actually involuntary. That's a tough question. And I know because it's what I do. And it's also what my guest tonight, Mr. Eric Bustamante.
Hello, everyone.
Also does. So we're going to delve into the psychology and the science and the weirdness that is being a stand-up comic. Because let's face it, it's a tad odd. It's a weird thing. Eric, you were telling me earlier today that you actually just started. I mean, we met a couple of nights ago.
Yeah.
And you've been doing stand-up since May?
Yeah, I'm pretty new to all this, so everything is still very new and strange to me in a way.
So, what the fuck are you doing?
I still don't know,
Why?
to be honest. Yeah, sometimes I actually go to mics, and I still, ask myself that. I'm like, what am I doing here?
So when we say going to mics, we're talking about doing open mics.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but so what was the thing that you decided that you wanted to do stand-up comedy? What brought you to this?
Well, it's kind of a weird, funny story. I've always liked writing. I like making people laugh. You know, who doesn't? So, one-on-one, I'm very social, cracking jokes to people I know. Never done any acting or anything. So back in April, actually, I was talking to a girl on a dating site, Plenty of Fish, and yeah, free plug for Plenty of Fish. Was on a dating site, met a girl, and she wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And so we were talking, and we started texting, flirting, whatnot, and we would start doing jokes, and it was just funny conversations, good conversations, and it seemed like anything goes, like any type of joke, whether it be a sex joke, penis joke, anything, like it was on the table. So I was like, okay, this girl's cool, but she was very new to it. Like she hadn't done her first open mic yet. This was just like what she wanted to pursue. The kind of crazy thing about it, though, I'm not really religious. She was a devout Christian.
Okay.
Yeah. So I rolled with it. I figure, she's not like working at a church. You know what I mean? I just figure she's into,
And thou shalt have a punchline anon. Wait, that's Shakespeare.
So a couple jokes here and there. I remember making a joke. She had talked about something about chicken, and she made a joke about churches, and then I made a joke about church. I don't know if she laughed. I don't really remember, but there were a couple of things that they were showing that they weren't exactly okay. But again, she didn't show. It seemed like she was making the penis joke. So I'm like, all right, we'll keep going. And we were planning to go to an open mic the day after Easter. And yeah, so
the Lord has been crucified. Well, he's up there, so let's go tell some jokes about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, we're flirting, and the few days before Easter, she told me that she had to do something for church, something for some kids, and whatever, and she had to get a nice dress and look nice. So she went shopping, and she showed me, a couple of the dresses she was looking at. I was like, all right, those are nice, whatever. So the day of Easter, I sent her a text, Happy Easter, how'd the dress turn out? And instead of telling me, she actually sent me a picture, and she looked really pretty,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, you look really pretty. Give her a compliment. But then being comics, well, I wasn't a comic yet, but I was like, I'm going to throw a joke in there because that's just my personality.
Sure.
So I basically told her, you look really pretty. And it's Easter, remember? Jesus is not going to be the only thing rising today. I thought it was a good joke. You know?
No, I've always said that any male that has an erection on Easter has a completely different reason for saying he is risen.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So she didn't really like that joke, and how I knew she didn't like the joke is because she didn't text back.
Right.
Right? Everyone I've told that joke to likes it. Everyone laughs, and I figure you want to be a comic, you need to have thick skin. You need to be able to handle jokes.
But what made you decide to actually do comedy? What
Yeah. So basically, that kind of interaction, it's weird, but you know, the next night she went to her open mic, I'm pretty sure, because she wound up texting me really late.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? After not hitting me up at all, she texted me like at 11 o'clock. Just a really long message. So I'm thinking she went to the open mic, had some drinks, and finally said what she wanted to say.
Which was?
Really offended by what you said. You know, I don't like your Jesus jokes. I don't like this, that. And I apologized to her and whatnot, and she didn't take it, which is fine. But the whole thing kind of made me like, when I was going to go to the open mic with her, I was like, you know, this is interesting. Like, maybe I'll do one of these with you one time. Like, I kind of like the fact that we were joking and talking about it kind of started to gauge my interest. And I've always liked comedy. I just couldn't see myself doing it. But I was like, all right, it kind of planted the seed.
So let me ask you, what made you see yourself not doing it and yet you did?
Well, I've always been, you know, I've never been the actor type. I wasn't in drama club. I wasn't in the improv group at high school. Never been in the type to go on stage. So I just never really thought of it. You know, comedy writing, I'm a screenwriter, and I've thought about, you know, writing screenplays, and I have a lot of good comedy ideas. So I've always been writing comedy. But again, I couldn't see myself going on stage.
Why? What about stage is weird for you?
I don't know. I mean, like a lot of people talk about that whole thing about everyone just looking at you, that whole...
Well, yeah, you're on stage.
Yeah.
There's that.
And, you know, it's just... It's not only that you're on stage. I mean, what's harder? I mean, they say it's one of the hardest things to do is to go up there. Not only you have to be on stage and keep people's attention, but you have to tell jokes that are funny. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you could bomb, but...
Which is always a good time.
Right?
It's horrible. It
Yeah.
sucks. But yeah, so, but still, I mean, even behind that, what's the motivating force? What is it that makes you feel like, you know what? I want to go up and stand on that stage where you may in fact fail. You may in fact deal with the difficulty of a level of rejection, but you want to go up there anyway and tell jokes
Yeah.
and give it a whack. Why?
Well, it kind of all started. So after her, and you know, I'm a little bit of a believer in like things happen for a reason. The universe kind of sends you messages. Sometimes you have a calling.
Mm-hmm.
Right after that, I'm on Groupon. You know, they always have good deals, and they had one of their $20 off or 25% off things. And I'm looking for something to buy, and I'm just scrolling through all the stuff, and I see a comedy class in Burbank taught by Jerry Corley.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, it's just a 2-day seminar, cheap. Saturday, Sunday, I'm like, let me try it. So I did the seminar and really enjoyed it. But not only that, I found that I got the material quickly. I was, you know, picking up the comedy writing quickly. And the teacher was giving me, you know, it's always nice to get praise and whatnot.
Of course.
Yeah. So that was kind of what started it. I started to write good jokes and try it. And again, initially it was scary doing it. But as my writing started to improve, and I realized that I was a pretty good joke writer, I was like, might as well just try this. This will be...
Here's the thing I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Why do you want to tell jokes? I mean, yeah. I get all the fun. I get all the functionality of it. Here's the class that I found,
Yeah.
and the place that I was able to go to exercise this muscle that you wanted to. But why? And I ask you this because I've got my own reasons as to why I do this.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in knowing what yours is.
Okay, well, a couple of things in particular stick out to me. One, I mean, I try to be a positive person. I try to have good energy, and I feel like that arena, that just everything is good about it, unless there's like, a horrible heckler or someone just being rude.
Fuckers.
Right? But in general, people are there to have a good time. It's just good energy, making people laugh, making people feel good. What better job, right? I mean, getting paid to tell jokes, to, you're making people happy. There are so many jobs where it's miserable, you're miserable, the customers are miserable, This is a true thing where everyone can really just have happiness, good energy, And the other thing that's really appealing to me is the potential travel, which again,
Sure.
I've always wanted to get into.
I can go to various places across this planet and tell complete strangers jokes and actually maybe connect with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The connection, and I've traveled a little bit, but I haven't traveled as much as I wanted to. So I mean, it just seems amazing.
Where would you like to go?
I'm open to go everywhere. I'm not like, I'm one of those people, some people like really like LA and stuff, and LA's cool, but I'd rather hit the road. I mean, I just want to explore. you know?
No, I agree completely. In fact, I mean, I've done a bit of touring myself, and it is a completely different experience to do the exact same set that you would do here in Los Angeles. And when I say set, I talk about the stand-up act that you would do. Whatever period of time that you get to do it, what you would do here in Los Angeles would get you a level of attention in one sort of club here. But when you go do that in Dallas, Fort Worth, you go do it in Seattle, you go do that in, Atlanta, Georgia, where I've done. And it's a completely different experience because those are not media towns. And that's a very huge difference.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like that here in LA, this is a media town. And so the mentality about it is, well, it's a bit jaded. Actually, jaded's not fair because that would be insulting to things that are jaded. So, but it's a very different thing. So when you go to these other places and you perform in front of those audiences, their response is it's very different. It's phenomenally different.
Yeah.
Which in some ways makes it easier when you get back here. It also makes it harder.
Yeah.
But your heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
So that's a plus. Still trying to find out.
For sure.
No. I'm going to keep on picking at the scab with you, and I don't care if it takes all fucking hour to do it. Why are you doing stand-up, Eric Bustamante? What is it about doing stand-up and telling jokes? What does it mean to you, really, at its root?
Well, I found, another thing is, I enjoy writing, but I didn't know what type of writing. You could do screenwriting, you could do copywriting, and the's no guarantee you'll ever make it as a screenwriter.
Great. End result. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, so basically the other thing I've noticed, I realized, it's like, look, some people are okay just going into a career, whatever career it is. I still was not sure what kind of career exactly I want to get into, but I knew what makes me most happy. And two things make me really happy. Dogs and just laughter. When you're, you know what I mean? Making people laugh. That whole, when things are just, you're with your friends or whatever, and you're just laughing, having a good time. I found that that's so enjoyable. And I was like,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is. I totally agree with you. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm not even sure I'm asking you this question. And for the audience at home, as I'm asking him, I'm actually kind of picking at myself. Why am I doing this? It's not an easy, this is a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
This is, man, you've got to be willing to be told no over and over and over again. It's like prom night. No, not my prom night. Sorry. But it's a tough nut to slog. It really is.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious as to why people choose to do this and to continue doing it. And yet, I mean, part of me knows, I know why I do it. And part of it, I mean, I would almost describe it as a psychosis. There is I spent 12 years, about 12 years, not doing stand-up. Not because I was writing semi-constantly, but I was trying to be a good husband and good father and good employee for a company and all kinds of things. But what I really was also doing was ignoring that artistic side of me.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that sucked. It was fucking horrible. And it was like having a rash that you couldn't scratch.
Yeah.
And I'm also now a firm believer, you know what? You don't have to have one without the other. But so through the process of that experience, I'm always really, really curious as to what is it that drives anybody to do the shit that we do, because we do it. And let's understand something. Doing stand-up comedy and really working at it requires going out to doing, as Eric had suggested, doing open mics where you're going out several nights a week and you're just working stuff out. It's like being an intern at a hospital and every one of your patients is likely to die. Difference is when we're telling jokes, it's just a concept that dies. And yet we work on it and we might be able to save them the next night. But that's a hard bit. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And yet we do it.
Why?
Exactly. Yes. Why? And so I know, why I do it. Why I do it is that I don't know how not to. There's a thing where when you're telling the jokes and you're talking about the things, and when you're telling jokes, you're really there's a perspective. There's something you're talking about.
Yeah.
And when the jokes connect, would you agree with me that when you're telling a joke that works, it's because it's something that matters to you?
Yeah.
And so you're expressing something that means something.
Mm-hmm.
And you're actually expressing something, and what you're hoping anyway is that the audience, whoever they may be, are going, oh yeah, that matters to me too.
Exactly.
I'm expressing that it matters to me through my laughter, through my connection of it. Mm-hmm. And then the grander, bigger picture is that as we all comedians talk about things and create that connection that is the laughter, then we all get to share in, there's a lot of things that are going on in the world that actually matter to all of us. Mm-hmm. And suddenly the world isn't so big anymore. It's actually quite small, and we're actually quite connected.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're all much closer. We're actually a little bit more connected, a little bit more of a family, and we can all decide that somebody or something is completely full of shit, and that's good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, it's almost like a therapy session. You're kind of working stuff out together.
Yes.
The audience and the comic, you know? Yeah, a lot of my material, exactly. I want to connect, and I talk a lot about myself, my family, stuff, you know, topics that everyone, love, dating, things that people could connect to, They're like, oh, I'm having that same problem.
Yes.
I don't like my mom, or this, or whatever it is,
It's a shared experience, and it's a shared perspective, and it's a shared criticism, comment.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that we can all laugh about.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, hopefully, yeah. It's like more on the regular show, less on the open mic. Let me ask you, what are your feelings on doing an open mic? And just to explain to people, an open mic, you go to typically an open mic. Sometimes it happens at a comedy club, but oftentimes it can be in a coffee house. It can be at a donut shop. It can be at any number of places. and it becomes an open mic means you show up at some point. You actually have to sign up onto a list, and you know that you will go up at some point during the night, and you'll get your limited amount of time. And typically, when you've done open mics, I mean, I know when I've done them, they're mostly other comics. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. And so you've got other comics who are all going,
Yeah, exactly.
that's kind of funny, but I could do it better. We all do that. We're all assholes. We are. Just each and every one of us. No big deal. But it's not, you don't necessarily do them because of the laughs that you're going to get. When you do that was a phone ringing for something else. That was the FBI. And neither one of us have Ebola, although we tried. But when doing an open mic, how does that feel to you when you do that?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, since I'm so new to it, it's still a new experience for me. I mean,
That's right. Well, we are in October, and you just started in
May.
May.
So I can't do math very well, but I think that's around 5 months, something around
It's more
there.
than that, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You're more of a veteran than you think you are.
Yeah, I guess so.
You've got bigger battle scars and wounds than you know, lad.
So I have mixed reviews on open mics, as I'm sure everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you want to go and get your material out. You want to practice. You want to see what works. Throw stuff at the wall and see if it sticks. But the fact that when you go to a comedy club, they're there. The people are there to laugh.
Yes.
They have a couple drinks in them, most likely.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and they kind of let go. They're ready to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So even jokes that are, they don't have to be the most funny in the world. They're still gonna hit. They're still gonna.
Yeah.
Then you go to an open mic and a joke that's been killing it other places won't even get a laugh, and it's like, whoa.
I've always felt that if you're doing an open mic, if you get even if what you get is a chuckle, then you go, oh, that
That's a
might be
keeper.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, really. It's pretty rare that it's like you tell a joke at an open mic and everybody goes, ah!
Yeah.
Mostly because they're looking at their notebook going, I'll be with you in a minute.
Exactly. Or they're practicing their
Yes,
set.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna crush you in a moment,
Yeah.
jerk.
So that's one thing, and then the other thing that's kind of interesting about it, I guess. Another thing, I mean, I'm into support. I like,
Oh wait, you mean you're a positive person?
Yeah, I don't know.
Get the fuck out.
I know
of
I don't
here.
belong in this city. But I like, when comics, again, you're going to be working on your own material too, and I understand that. But I like when other comics support each other and whatnot.
I agree with you.
So when a couple of open mics in particular I went to, people would be standing all the way in the back, or they would just, a lot of people, when you go to open mic, they leave if it's not their set, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then they only come for theirs. Like, really? I mean, you could stay for 5 minutes. You could stay for 10 minutes. Just hang out, even if you're just hanging out with your buddies.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one thing that kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. It's like, if you're not there, if you're not supporting, I mean, then you're not going to get the feedback from the people too. Don't you want
Right.
to have an audience? Like, every comic wants to have an audience, or there's no point.
That's what mommy and daddy are for.
Yeah.
Oh.
So with that, I mean, I'm still doing open mics and I still love it.
Mm-hmm.
But me and my comedy partner, we decided to start our own open mic.
So who's your comedy partner?
His name is Pablo Avion. We took the class together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we decided, did some research, contacted some people, some venues that we liked, and we're like, we want to do an open mic our way. Fun, themed, getting people involved, giving people an extra minute if they come and sit in the front and support. So we're trying to make it more of a
positive experience?
positive experience,
Rather than going, I'm going to go do an open mic and it's like having my balls scraped over a cheese grater.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, again, open mics are great, and there are some great ones in there. You just gotta kind of find which ones you like,
So where does your open mic happen? I mean, I know that you sent me something on Facebook for the people at large on the
Yeah,
calendars.
so we're doing it at the Hollywood Hotel every Saturday from 7 to 10. Right now we're doing Saturday Mike Fever, which is a 70s themed.
Fever night, fever. You don't have to laugh at it.
Exactly. Fever as in Saturday Mike Fever, not fever as in Ebola. Just want to make that clear.
Although, give it time, it could change.
Exactly.
Yes.
We're gonna wash the mic after every
Exactly.
person goes up.
I can't hear you. It'd be a good time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so we're doing that, and we've only done it twice, and we're getting some good support and some good feedback. So yeah, that's exciting.
Cool. Well, you sent me the invite, and if all things being the way I want to be, I will be there on Saturday night.
Awesome.
You'll be going. He was much funnier the last time I saw him. He's working on new shit, clearly. Yes. But so we've talked a lot about your comedy. I think it's time to actually show the people at home. Got a great set from Flappers in Burbank in the Yoo-Hoo Room. Mr. Jason, can we... We have a small technical issue. So, on the other hand, we're not going to play it. We're just going to let you know that it exists. And in fact, but you can find it on your website. And so your website is what?
It is ericbcomedy.com, ERICB, Just go to the videos section and you will find my set.
Yeah, so just because our shit doesn't work doesn't mean that you can't see it. And I've seen the set, and it's solid and funny. Here's the one thing, though.
Okay.
So on that particular thing, who was doing the camera operation? Because it kept on moving. I was like going,
yeah,
I'm getting seasick watching Eric. It's really funny. But what?
Yeah, I noticed that too. That particular night at Flappers, I guess they had an intern. And by the way, let me just say, love Flappers. Love their open mic.
Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank, California is, as far as I'm concerned, the best comedy club in Southern California. The improv is great, and it's historical. And, there's the Comedy Store, and there's Laugh Factory, and there's certainly great clubs. But as far as I'm concerned, from an audience standpoint, I personally believe that Flappers is the best club in the town, bar none. Generally speaking, you can the who they book, more reliable, top to bottom, every single time, and they treat their customers well.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they treat their customers well. Here's an important thing to know: is that they treat the comics very well.
Yes.
A lot of the other clubs, you know what? We're a bit of a toss-off. We're sort of like a virus they have to put up with. But hey, part of the nature of the business. Flappers treats everybody with respect. And here's the great thing. If you're a patron, it's actually the food there is actually really
I
good.
agree. I always get food. When one of the 2-item minimum, I always get food. It's like...
it's not like, oh, we've got really good chicken fingers. No, they have really great steaks and pizzas and chicken. I mean, it's like,
burgers.
It's like, you know what? They've really done it right. And they're working hard at it. So if you are here in the Southern California area, or if you're going to be coming to the Southern California area and you want to go check out a comedy show, go to Flappers. Any night of the week, you will find a great show. So, yes, we have good stuff. All right, so we've been talking with Eric Bustamante, and now we're going to watch Eric Bustamante's set at the Yoo-Hoo Room at Flappers in Burbank. Enjoy.
So I'm going to spin it around a little bit and start with bad news that I got. I just got some bad news. My buddy told me that he thinks I'm an alcoholic because after a night of drinking together, he blew a .08 and I blew a homeless guy. Way above the legal limit. My family, they want me to go to AA, but who has time for that? I'm already going to see someone once a week for this thing that's been nagging me. My mom. She's Puerto Rican, so the only things I inherited from her were debt, a broom, and a drinking problem. In fact, she's so Puerto Rican that not only does she drink me under the table, she also cleans it, then gets paid under it. She's such a hard worker. That's actually how my mom and stepdad met, through work. She was his cleaning lady. And because he's Jewish, she's still his cleaning lady. Any guess who his gardener is? But at least he tips well. Although I remember one time he actually did try to cut my tip, like it's my fault I'm uncircumcised. Are there any other guys in the audience that are uncircumcised? Anyone? Please, by a show of skin. But now it's like rubbing off. Not my foreskin, the habits. Like ever since my mom married my stepdad, now she's all about saving money. Like just the other day, she made me go out of my way just to pick up the penny saver, which is what we call my stepdad. My parents are funny. They didn't get married for love. My mom actually married my stepdad for her green card. And she finally got it, you know, American Express. They also had a traditional Jewish wedding, and it was the first Jewish ceremony that my Hispanic family had ever been to, so we didn't get all the customs. Like, after my stepdad stepped on the wine glass, my Puerto Rican relatives tried to sweep it up. But I feel like I'm getting older, which sucks. Like, I'm 33, which doesn't seem old until you realize that's the age that Jesus died. I know Jesus. But I feel 53, which sucks, because, like, I used to be able to drop acid. Now I just spit it up. Everyone's popping Molly, I'm just popping Prilosec. Does anyone here get constipated? Anyone? No shit. I get constipated, and I told my buddy who's a doctor, and he told me to go on the Subway diet, and I thought he was crazy, but after a week of only sandwiches, I literally shat Jared. It was a foot long. Speaking of 12 inches coming out of my asshole, how's that for a transition? I recently broke up with a dominatrix. Yeah. The best thing about dating dominatrix is I no longer had to go to the doctor for my prostate exams. She happily volunteered. The worst thing was, after rough sex, I was the one walking funny. And I remember one time, she told me all these things she wanted to try, and they all sounded horrible. Things like knife play, gun play, cold play. It's like, let's set some limits here. But you guys want to know how I ended the relationship? I told her that I felt she kept me on way too short of a leash. Yeah, so I basically just didn't want her to tie me down anymore. But after her, I dated a woman that was even more kinky, believe it or not, than a dominatrix. I dated a Republican. And the thing about her, she was like really pushy. Like she'd always try to shove down my throat big government, which was the name of her dildo. But it's not all bad, it's not all bad. She was actually my first official cougar. Because she was extremely territorial and always peeing on me. Now I know what they mean by trickle down. So I'm dating again, which sucks in LA. Like I went out with this one girl recently, a Middle Eastern girl. She was beautiful. Those big brown eyes, soft tan skin, and that thick black curly hair on her shoulders. It was the only thing we had in common. But on that note, actually everyone thinks I'm Middle Eastern. Like the other day at LAX, I got randomly searched when I was going through security. And I'm not complaining though, it's actually the first time since my ex that someone fingered my asshole. So I'm traveling a lot more now. But sometimes I like to mess with TSA back. Like one time, I remember they got really racist, and they're like, "Sir, should we know about any explosive liquids?" And I'm like, "Well, I did just have Chipotle." And when I really want to mess with them, I'll grow my beard out really Bin Laden-like,
And I'll go through customs, and they'll be like, "Sir, is there anything you'd like to declare?" And I'm like, "Yes, I declare jihad." Thank you.
Oh man, I declare jihad. That's some serious. I mean, I knew it before because I saw it, and I've seen you before. That's some really, really funny stuff, man.
Thanks. It's been a long time in the making, that set.
Okay, so how long?
Well, I mean,
in set. It was not a personal question.
yeah. Oh, yeah, right. I mean, I started, some of those jokes are probably from May.
Really?
And then
Okay.
it's just kind of gone on and then go to open mics. And I'm one of those people, I'll take criticism. If a joke isn't working, it's getting out. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit there and, well, I think it's funny. So it's just been consistent editing and what's working and changing the wording around and making sure the punchlines at the end and having transitions that are funny. I've been just working and just
Working the craft.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just maybe a couple months in the work, and this is like the final product. And even that, I've taken out some few of the jokes. I've rearranged a couple of the.
All right. So what's a joke? Is there a joke that you have that you cut even though you were going, God, I really like this joke, and yet you never landed, so you cut it?
Might be hard to think of off the top, but something that kind of does come to mind.
Okay.
Where I do the joke about I'm aging poorly. I suffer from heartburn. I used to drop acid. Now I spit it up. So that joke, there used to be another joke after that a few of my classmates liked. I thought it was all right, but it wasn't. It wasn't hitting.
What was it?
It was basically talking about how heartburn has a bunch of different names, and I basically felt like acid reflux sounds like the name of a lead singer of a garage band. And GERD, which is the same thing, sounds like the old man next door trying to tell him to keep it down. It was all right, but that's,
No, I think that's funny, but no, I get you.
yeah.
Now I could see where that might have a slightly limited audience. So, in doing stand up, we all have our influences and our fan faves. Who are your influences comedy wise? Who are the people you listen to and go, oh shit, that's good?
Yeah. Well,